we feel under a lot of pressure and begin to set ourselves ridiculous standards. A recent survey showed that a quarter of us find Christmas too stressful. So with me now is social psychologist Dr. Marianne Tyso, author of The Good Relationship Guide, who's going to put a stop to all this. So what is it about Christmas that gets us so wound up?
I think a big thing is that one person in the household ends up feeling they've got to do it all, usually the woman, unfortunately, who feels she has to do all the shopping, all the cooking, all the preparation, all the present buying, all the wrapping, all the card writing, and ends up on Christmas Day a complete seething mass of anger and resentment and completely exhausted.
Yes, I've heard about people who spend Christmas Day in bed because they've got so wound up they can't handle the day itself.
Oh, exactly. They put down the turkey and fall into bed. Terrible.
So what can we do about this?
The crucial thing is to plan and to delegate. So work out exactly what areas worry you the most. Maybe it's the food or negotiating with in-laws about who you're going to stay with, whatever it is, and make a real plan of action to tackle it. And Christmas is supposed to be a time of sharing, so let's share the work and delegate the tasks amongst the members of the family, very important. And try and keep it reasonably simple. I mean, don't have in mind some fantastic, perfect Victorian Christmas that you're supposed to live up to. Try and keep it simple. And remember that you two are supposed to enjoy it a bit.
I mean, it's very hard not caving into these pressures, isn't it? I mean, one of the biggest pressures I get is from my little girl, who is compiling this Christmas list, which if I went out, I mean, it would just be, I'd be broke.
Sure. I think this can be very bad for parents. They feel tremendous pressure from their children because their children are being pressured by television and other friends. And I think the only thing to do is to be straight with them and say, you know, look, darling, I really can't afford to buy you this high-tech thingy, but I will try and get you something that you love, and I will try and get you something that maybe will be different from what your friends have.
But how do you deal with the child who then says, but what about Father Christmas? Can't Father Christmas bring this for me? You know, a reasonable sort of...
A reasonable question. And you can say, well, he's a very magical figure, darling, but he also has, you know, a limited number of presents in his bag, depending on how old they are, of course. If they're slightly older, again, you just have to come clean, I think.
But debt is a big problem, isn't it, over the Christmas season? And when people get some of their credit card bills in January and February, it can come as a bit of a stunner. I mean, how can we stop getting so sort of so worried and sort of snowed under?
I think the crucial thing really is to budget in advance for how much you're going to spend on family members and on friends and on food and on drink, and really try to stick to it. Otherwise, you know, the first 6 months of the next year are just going to be a financial nightmare.
I mean, and it does help you to be quite creative, doesn't it? Because if you know that you're going to spend, say, £10 on this person, I think sometimes it makes you think harder about the kind of present that you're buying.
I think it does, and I think that's another reason for not leaving everything to the last minute and making yourself so stressed you do spend Christmas in bed. Because if you allow yourself a bit of time to think about presents, it means you can be creative about it and not spend too much money. If you leave it till the day before, you're in such a panic, you sort of throw money at the problem and regret it later.
Now, if you do have money worries, there is a national debt-line number, and the number to ring is 0645 500 511. That's 0645 500 511, and they have lots of advice that they'd be able to give you. And you're going to come back again with lots more advice, aren't you?
Yes, I am. We're going to look at tricky social situations, and next time it's going to be family rows and how to avoid them.
And how to win them, I hope. And as well as that, we'll be telling you everything you need to know about buying a real tree, learning how to dish up a whole host of Christmas dishes, and Sarah will be bargain hunting.
What is this?
It's salvia.
Ah, sage.
Yeah.
And that didn't look very much like Oxford Street to me. But we'll be finding out more about that tomorrow, so see you then. Goodbye.
If you'd like a copy of our 32-page booklet,